We would like to invite Mr. Shyam Ravindra from Sonal Instrument to present their presentation. Mr. Shyam Ravindran.
My presentation will be okay.
I'll take that.
I will not have anything here to see. Thank you. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Good afternoon. So, thank you NFE for giving us this opportunity, and a warm good afternoon to everyone, including the delegates who are sitting on the stage here. So, to be frank with you, this is one of the difficult session to start because it is after lunch. But I will thank my colleagues who have given the presentation before. It will be a continuation of what they said in terms of measurements. So my session will be briefed down into very simple 4 points. I will be talking about measurements according to NEC 23. What are the measurement techniques, the products and tools, what we offer from our company, and a very quick introduction about Sonal Group. I also have a 15-minute session tomorrow, so I might stop the session and I can continue the session tomorrow based on the time allotted. If you have any questions, I can take. So before I start my presentation, a very simple question we ask in every presentation wherever we go, is our electrical network really safe? Having said that, I am a testing equipment manufacturing company. I myself had an electrical fire accident in my apartment which I stay. So I have crores of rupees of testing equipment, it doesn't matter anything. Actually the electrical network in a nutshell summary what I can make it is, see it is like you can afford a Volvo, but the guy who is driving in front of you, if the truck driver doesn't follow the rules, you are not safe. The electrical network, especially related to safety, is as simple as that. We can have all the tools and measurements with us, but unless and until it is implemented everywhere, not necessarily we are having a safe electrical network. Having said that, these are the two standards the gentlemen have already referred to. This is a 4th edition of IS 732. Still we have a electrical fire accidents that is running everywhere, and they've already introduced about the system, but very briefly, this is a TNC system. Just before we get into the topic, I wanted to show you the diagrams about the circuitry. This is TNC system, which means specifically I have copied pasted what is written in IS 732. It is not our wording. This is specifically copied from IS 732. TNC system means where you have your protective earthing and your neutral running across the installation. TNS system where you have a 5-wire system, basically you have a neutral and a protective earth system running as a 2 independent wires. Then you have a TNCS system, and you also have an IT system where you have kind of an isolated system, which is what explained in the previous sessions already, where you don't have the grounding on your supply side. So basically related to measurements in NEC 23, these are the 10 testings that you will have to do in a sequential way. Please also note, I have mentioned the verification part. I think there is a detailed presentation about verification tomorrow also. These are the 10 testings that you will have to do, and it is an obligation also. I am also taking the same reference from our IS 732. So it is not only from NEC 23, it is also carry forwarded from IS 732. So what are the 10 testings is what I will be explaining in my session today. One is the continuity of the conductors, which we already do. We also measure insulation resistance, and currently we are measuring our earth resistance. Basically, in a nutshell, from an equipment manufacturer point of view, we see that the market or the customer, or in general, people are very sure about their predictive maintenance, preventive maintenance, which talks about the asset lifetime. The companies, the clients, the customers are very sure about what is the efficiency of their system, not really with the safety audit. And why I say that is also, for example, there is a testing called floor and wall resistance testing. Point number 4, it is mentioned in IS 732. To my knowledge, I have not supplied that product to anybody in the market. But I am supplying the other testing tools. I will show you what does it mean. It is actually an obligatory testing, but I have not seen that, I can say less than 2% is what the customers we have are doing this floor and wall resistance testing. Then the most important element, automatic disconnection of supply. If we will take the CEA guideline related to the safety, there is a regulation which is a draft copy. But what was released for the EV charging station, the first point it is mentioned is automatic disconnection of supply. And if we refer to IS 732, it is also mentioned there. Then there is additional protection, polarity test, phase sequence test, functional test, and voltage drop test. These are the testings that is mentioned in the standard. So as we take it from the previous, the brief idea, what are the different type of electrical systems, this is the passage of a fault current which is shown in the previous presentation itself. So this is the total nutshell. In our electrical design, this is the nutshell what we have. In this design, we can very well clearly understand, in our design there are some protective elements. We can call it as our MCB, or we can call it as an RCD, whatever we wanted to refer to. This is included in our electrical design. So the passage of fault current, as we all know, it is supposed to go to the source, and the tripping devices is supposed to trip as per the characteristics of whatever is there in the design, whether it is B16 or type B RCD, whatever it is supposed to trip. When was the last time we did this testing? So this is the fact we wanted to put it in front of everyone, that this is mentioned for decades, but we have not really made this testing. The word may, shall, this has already been discussed in the previous sessions. So this is the point I wanted to insist. And this is taken as a draft regulation from CEA, not from NEC 23. This is posted in CEA website also. The before previous regulation was saying limit earth resistance sufficiently low to permit adequate fault current for the operation of protective devices in time. Basically, this is why we were doing the earth resistance testing. Market have been doing earth resistance testing for the decades. But the new regulation says earth fault loop impedance shall be maintained sufficiently low. Basically, it is don't measure or limit yourself with this RE. It makes no sense. We will have to do the complete loop. It is not a resistance testing anymore. It is a loop impedance testing. In continuation to that testing, what is mentioned in the 10 testing, if I will continue, one is the continuity of the conductors. Second, it is also mentioned about the insulation resistance. We do a lot of insulation resistance for the safety point of view, and it is also mentioned for the SELV and PELV circuits where the operating voltage is much lower, and it is clearly mentioned. For example, if you use, it is mentioned in the standard, by the way, for a 250 volt, what is the insulation resistance you should be expecting that is safe. If you apply 1000 volt, what is the insulation resistance value you should be gaining? If it is below than that, you can be sure that there is some problem in the installation. So all this is clearly mentioned in the standard also. Now, this is the photo about the wall resistance and the floor resistance. I insist on this point wherever I go because it is an insulation testing, by the way. You only have to take an additional adapter to do the floor resistance and then the wall resistance. And the standard says, for example, you will have to do a testing approximately 1 meter from the extraneous conductor. That is what we have, it was shown, I'm sorry. That is what it was shown in the previous presentation. You will be able to apply a voltage and you can calculate what is the resistance value. This is how a testing is being done. To be frank, I have not seen this testing happening in general everywhere. Sorry? The way forward is, to be very frank to you, until today, this regulation was not there. That was my first question. See, for example, is our electrical network really safe? I'm not here to complain about anything, but the point here I really wanted to make and emphasize is, once when the regulation will come in, it will become a mandatory point for anybody to do the testing. So the way forward is we are educating the customers wherever we go, because we tell the customer you're already purchasing or you're already having an asset with you of this product already. You only have to do an additional accessory added to that and start doing the testing. We are educating right now. That is why we are here to also insist this point. Wherever we go, we are doing this insisting element. Then comes the additional point of additional protection, which is very well clearly explained by Gopakumar sir in his previous slides, which is about MCB and RCD testing. He has already shown you what is the total circuit and what is a loop impedance. So what we do in this loop impedance is, we have a testing device which will calculate what is the prospective short circuit current of the total network. While we say that, while we do the testing, for example, I made a presentation in Delhi few days before. When we went for a testing, we found that the neutral to PE wire was more than 50 volt when we started the measurement. So it is not simply that you will connect an equipment, even you will be able to take a result. Once when you know that your result is not proper, or if there is any differential value while you take that result, then you can make your necessary arrangements. We are not here to tell what type of RCD you will be able to do, but we can definitely tell you this is the tripping characteristic of your RCD currently. What is the tripping current and what is the tripping time your RCD has currently as per the circuit and design, whatever you have installed. This is our job. Please, sir. No, sir, it is already there, sir. Now it is already.
No, he asked about the way forward. I'm
Yes,
just asking. First of all, whatever it is required, as an Indian citizen, it is our responsibility. Individually, I'm telling.
Yes, sir.
Okay, not a supplier, not a consultant point of view. Even it's a individual responsibility.
Yes.
We have to enrich our code, correct? Now? So if any concern is there to add in this or implement or something?
I will not say now there is a constraint, sir, but I can also revert this question to Gopakumar, sir. Now it is included, now it is becoming mandatory. Please correct me if I'm add.
Yeah, okay.
So this is also a screenshot that is taken out from the CEA regulations, not from NEC 23. In the draft regulation, you can see they have mentioned about this earth fault loop impedance measurement in multiple locations, also in CEA regulations. For example, it's the first point of which I've already shown in the previous slide. While we had a discussion, or I attended his presentation in Delhi, this point was again discussed. Now when that source is different, it is clearly mentioning in the standard that you will have to make a loop impedance measurement for different sources also. For example, as a customer, you have your generator as a DG backup in your facility, and you also take a supply from your power supply company, you will have to make a loop impedance measurement separately. When the sources are different, the impedance value is also different, and you will have to maintain the records independent of the sources. And it is also again taken from CEA regulation mandate. A loop impedance measurement has been made as a mandatory point. So what is this for loop impedance? I'm repeating it quite often. It is because what the equipment will try to do, or what the measurement will actually do, is it calculates the prospective short circuit current of an installation. When I know what is the prospective short circuit current, I will be able to define what is the impedance value. RCD was again explained in the previous sessions. As I mentioned, we will be able to clearly define what is the tripping characteristics of your RCD as per the installation. This also goes by the history. Again, this regulation is what we are discussing right now, but this is taken out from a standard of 60364, and actually we are manufacturing this equipment for the past 30 years. This was the first equipment we launched way back in 1992. In 2013, this is how our equipment looks like, which is one single equipment. This is what we are supplying to over 80 countries globally, which is in an insulation tester, an earth resistance meter, a loop impedance meter, a power quality analyzer, an RCD measurement, a phase sequence measurement, a lux measurement. Whatever that is mentioned in the standard, everything you will be able to do in a single equipment because it complies to 60364. Not to the NEC regulation alone, it complies to the international regulation of 60364, and this is our multifunction test kit. Yes. Sir, I don't want to make a commercial statement here, but
No, because
yeah. I can give you a benchmark figure. It starts from 2 lakh rupees. It can go up to 7-8 lakh rupees depending on the voltage rating and the current rating what the client is choosing. You can keep it as a benchmark figure, sir. No, it is not made in India, but in 23-24 this Make in India regulation is also pushing us to go for a Make in India. But currently it is not. However, the laboratory setup, everything is already established. Yeah, we do the export. I mean, we handle the overseas market. It's manufactured in Europe. Yeah, so this is basically about the total product. Anyway, I have my session tomorrow. I will continue with the session for another 15 minutes tomorrow. I have displayed the product there. So if anybody wanted to have questions or if you want to see the product, we can show you the product. So thank you so much for your time.